Hey everyone, welcome back to Carrots and Olives. My name is Brittany and today we are going to review the pens that I had inked up for the month of April. I can't believe we are already in April. I mean, in May. I can't believe April is already like reached its end. This month went by really fast. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the same thing I did in January where I am scoring the pen and ink on the flow, the comfort, and then the ink itself. I did do swatches, which is one of the things I missed in January. And from your responses and comments, you did mention that you would prefer to see what the ink looked like in a swatch format on the side as I'm going through each one. So let's get started. I don't want to keep you guys here too long, and we're going to get straight to the point. First thing first is my Esterbrook, and this is the Esterbrook Estie Botanical Gardens in Fine. This is one of the newer Esterbrook's that came out this spring. And let's zoom in just a little bit. So as for the flow, I liked the way that it flowed out here. It wasn't too, it was like the perfect amount for it being a fine fountain pen. So the flow, I'm going to give it an 8. And then as for comfort, it's definitely comfortable, and I like to use it without it being posted, but I find it very comfortable even posted. And then as for the ink color itself, I think it really goes well with this fountain pen. So I'm giving it a 9, and you could see the ink swatch here. It's really pretty. This is the Harry Potter Monte Grappa Night Bus Purple. So again, I really enjoy this, and I use this really often in my planner system. I have some examples of how I use this pen. So I have my planner here, and I used it in like the small spaces, and I used it for weeks. So I really enjoyed the size and the fact that it was a fine, and it kind of felt more like an extra fine to me. It flowed really well, and I don't have any complaints. I would say one thing is that it wasn't super smooth as you would expect, but that's because it is a fine. I felt like it was scratchy sometimes, but I think I got over that throughout the month. So I'm going to leave a little space open to, well, actually, let's add these up. This is 26 out of 30. Okay, so next up is this beautiful pen. This is from On a Whim, Woodworks, and I got this from Instagram. And well, I found them from Instagram. The pen doesn't post, but it's girthy. It's very comfortable. I would give it a 10 for comfort right away. As for flow, I think that there are a few hard starts, but after you're writing for a while, it does get better. And so for flow, I'm going to give it a 7. Now the ink is gorgeous. This ink is Ferris wheel press. So you can see, like, when I first start writing, it has a hard start. Ferris wheel press. This is one of my new samples. Edwards Gardens. And the ink is gorgeous. I'm giving this ink a 10. And I might be a little biased because I do love my blue inks. So this is 27 out of 30. Okay, so next up is my TWSBI Vac 700R in the Iris. This one has me stumped a little bit. I do like open it up because of the vacuum inside, and it's comfortable, but you do get this, it's a little bit weighty for me in comparison to some of the others. So I've only gravitated towards it a couple of times. I would say for comfort, I would give it an 8. And then as for the flow, I like it. Sometimes I feel like it's getting clogged a little bit. And I think that's because it's an extra fine. So for flow, I'm giving it a 7. The ink itself is gorgeous. When I write with it on Tomoe River paper, even on cream paper, I could see like the sparkle, which is really subtle and it's really nice. And it's really dark ink. So I'm giving this a 10. And that's 25 out of 30. And then again, the ink here is Ferris wheel press stroke of midnight. And I'm so glad I got the bottle of this. So this one is really pretty. I do have quite a lot of ink left, and I think I might try to use up the ink before I clean this one out. Next, I have this very fun, and I think it's pretty cool pen. I like the flat tops, and they're not super flat. They actually have a little bit of a point on the end. This one is from Tailored Pen Company, and I found them from others that I followed, but I did get this pen from purchasing it on their Instagram page. So this one is a fine. And as for the ink, it's really interesting. This is a sample ink. I'm still trying to decide if I want to buy this bottle. It wasn't until last night when I started to write with this pen on cream paper that I realized how beautiful the ink is. I think just on white paper, it looks like a regular brown, but on cream paper, it looks like there's more depth to the ink itself. So this is Ferris wheel press, Land of Shangri-La. Okay, so my camera just stopped filming, and I did not catch it. So I'm gonna hide what I've already completed and then slowly explain where we left off. So for this pen, the Land of Shangri-La in ink, I gave it a 9 for flow because it does come out of this pen really nicely, and it's very comfortable, except for this step here is a little rough. But the ink itself is pretty when I'm writing with it on cream paper. Next was the color, or the Schon Design fountain pen, and this is with the Monoch nib. I really enjoyed this fountain pen because it writes like two different fountain pens. It's more of a medium broad, and it has a flow of 10, comfort of 10, and the ink is not my favorite. It's a Colorverse Vortex Motion, 28 out of 30, and I'm not a fan of the ink itself. It changes colors when it dries. When it's nice and wet, it's really pretty dark purple, but then when it dries, it turns a shade of green almost, and it's not a favorite. Next is my Scribo, and again, this has an 18 karat gold nib, but the nib requires you to write at a very low angle. So I think I'm realizing that I need to get this fixed to fit my writing style, because it's just not working that great for me. You can see I gave it a 5 for flow. This is also an extra fine, which could also be the reason for the flow being so terrible. And then comfort, an 8. I mean, the pen itself is nice and lightweight. I don't have a problem holding the pen. It's just the way I have to hold it that makes it a little bit uncomfortable. The ink is okay. It's a little bit unimpressive. It feels like it's just a regular brown ink. And so not really impressed with this ink color. It's called Ferris Wheel Press Beaver Dam Brown. So next is the Otto Hutt, and this pen I won from the Atlas Stationery fountain pen. I forgot what they call it, but they had their fountain pen rollout or like comparisons, and I surprisingly won one of the rounds. And so they gave me an ink and a fountain pen, and this is the Otto Hutt. This is in a fine. It is a metal pen, but it's actually surprisingly lightweight. I'm not a huge fan of metal pens because I feel like they could be so overly heavy, and then also the grip section is frustrating because it's just really loosey-goosey, or should I say it's slippery for my hands. But comfortable, like, is actually pretty comfortable because it's lightweight. This texture on the body doesn't bother me. And so I'm going to give it a 9 for comfort. And then the ink is pretty, but again, it's a little too vibrant for me. So I'm going to give it an 8. And that is, what is that? 5, 6, 7, 8, 22 out of 30. And the ink is Ferris Wheel Press Midway the Magnificent. Okay. And I always get confused. I feel like it should be a push top, but it's actually a twist top, and it gets me every time. Next is another fountain pen that was new and did not come at the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of the month. And this is the Sailor Prophet. This is in the medium fine fountain pen, and it writes really well. Comfort, it's very comfortable because it's lightweight, and it's a little bit smaller, so I don't feel that it's unbalanced. Flow is pretty decent. Don't have issues with that. Comfort, again, 10. Ink is beautiful color, but I can't really, I feel like it's a little too light in this medium fine, so I'm giving it an 8. 26 out of 30. And this ink is actually Sailor Ink Studio 223. Okay, last but not least is my Kaweco Sport, and this baby is just gorgeous. I have used it quite a few times in my journaling, and I actually prefer to use it unposted, which I'm still able to do. I guess my hands aren't as big as I thought that they would be, but I am able to use it posted. The ink I'm using in this is the Diamond Blue Velvet, which I never shared with you because I did get this about a week and a half ago. The flow is, well, that was a awkward hard start, probably because I was waving it around. Flow is 10. I find it comfortable, maybe not as comfortable as some of the other fountain pens. And then the ink is gorgeous. Blue Velvet from Diamond is really nice to write with. And so, let's see. Again, Diamond, Blue Velvet.
Yeah, you know, the service guy that lived here before you, you know what kind of cars he had in the garage?
Blue Velvet. So this is in a medium nib, and it's just writes so well. I love it, but I have to write with it unposted just because of the weight. So that's what we have. Let's zoom out. And so if I were to look at which fountain pens made it to the top, I am going to rank them, and with that I'm going to use definitely my I call it my double pen. My Schon Design becomes one of the pens that it's like top 3. And then I have, oops, I forgot to give my Diamond, oops, my Diamond Blue Velvet, Kaweco Bronze, 29 out of 30. This is top 3. And this one's gonna catch you off guard because it's about how I felt. Yeah, no, actually, this is right. I was thinking, is it between the Shangri-La or Edwards Gardens? But it's actually Edwards Gardens and my Whim Woodworks. Becomes a top 3. So that's what I have for you this month. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm excited to ink up some new pens for next month, and I hope you guys found this helpful and interesting, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye. If you guys stayed to the end, wonderful, thank you. I forgot to show you some examples of the ink. So this is Esterbrook with the purple. This is actually my Schon Design, and I started actually writing this way. It's becoming harder to journal in my journal in the evening time when I'm laying down. I usually like to journal on my stomach. I can't do that anymore. So the best way for me to journal is at my desk, but I work all day at a desk, and so I'm so exhausted. So I'm trying to find creative ways to be able to be comfortable while I'm trying to journal. Anyway, so I'm finding that sometimes I can journal horizontal versus vertical. But this is from my Schon Design pen, and this is actually using it in reverse. so this way instead of this way. And that's one of the reasons why I really have enjoyed using this pen. TWSBI Vac 700R, which is a nice dark blue. And then this is actually all of my Kaweco bronze. So I wrote it for the whole week. Actually, I started the day before and really enjoyed that. And then I have this beautiful greenish color, which is coming from, I want to say it's coming from, no, this color is coming from this pen. This green is shocking me right now because I can't figure out where that is coming from. Again, this is from the Tailored Pen Company, Ferris Wheel Press, Land of Shangri-La. Then this is TWSBI Eco. This one is my Monoch. This is the Monoch nib with the regular medium broad. So I'm using it the regular way, and you can see how much thicker it is in comparison to using it here where I'm using it in reverse. And what else? Yeah, I mean, same thing. The brown. Actually, this is the brown from my Scribo. That was weird. And did I have another one? I know I did. I want to say I thought I did something else, but yeah, so that's pretty much it. I did use my Otto Hutt, but I used it in my journal, and I'm not gonna show the personal journal. This is more of the family journal. So yeah, but thank you for watching the video. And again, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.